Have you ever had a moment where you knew what you needed to do, but didn't? Where clarity and conviction flashed in your mind, and yet your feet stayed still? You are not alone. The human experience is full of intention without movement, of dreams without pursuit. But what if there was a philosophy, a way of thinking that could light the match beneath our feet? What if taking action wasn't just a productivity hack, but a spiritual and existential decision? Welcome to the Fire Within, the philosophy of taking action. Today, we'll explore how thinkers through the ages have wrestled with this age-old tension between thought and deed. We'll dive into the teachings of the Stoics, existentialists, and Eastern sages, not just to talk about taking action, but to become people who do. Because action isn't just about doing, it's about becoming. I'll take this episode in segments to help break it down properly. Segment 1, the paralysis of thought. Let's begin where most of us are stuck, in thought. We live in a world that overvalues the mind, analysis, opinions, endless consideration. In fact, we often confuse thinking about a thing with doing the thing. But as Aristotle warned, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Too much thinking without action leads to what modern psychologists call analysis paralysis. But the Stoics knew this even 2,000 years ago. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Overthinking is comforting. It gives us the illusion of progress. But it is only action that transforms reality. Thoughts are maps. Actions are the journey. Segment 2. Existentialism and the urgency of choice. Existentialist thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir made a radical claim: we are defined by our actions, not our intentions. Sartre put it this way: "The end of love is all uncreated. Man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. If you don't act, the world will act upon you." Inaction is still a choice, a decision to be passive, to surrender authorship over your own life. De Beauvoir emphasized that freedom means responsibility. If you are free to act, then you are also responsible for what you choose not to do. When we choose to remain spectators, we forfeit the creative power that defines our humanity. Segment 3. The Stoic response. Action as duty. The Stoics were less concerned with freedom and more concerned with virtue. And for them, virtue meant action, doing the right thing, regardless of feelings, distractions, or fear. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, wrote in his personal journal, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do?" To be alive is to do, not just to think about living. The Stoics practiced a daily form of reflection that ended with action. They didn't believe in endless self-analysis. They believed in showing up, doing what needs to be done. To them, action wasn't about ambition, it was about alignment. Doing what is right because it is right, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, especially then. Segment 4. Zen and the art of present action. The Zen masters brought something unique to the table, the purity of action in the present moment. For them, taking action isn't about long-term strategy or accomplishment. It's about full presence, total engagement with what is in front of you. When walking, walk. When eating, eat, goes a classic Zen saying. This might sound trivial, but consider this. How often do we half-act, half-speak, half-listen? We are constantly doing things while thinking about other things. Zen teaches us that action is not just movement. It is awareness, devotion, attention. In the words of Thich Nhat Hanh, the present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. Action, then, is a form of meditation, a discipline of attention, a sacred practice. Segment 5. Proactive living. Becoming a mover, not a reactor. To take action is one thing. To be proactive is another. Stephen Covey, in his famous work The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, defines proactivity as the space between stimulus and response. It is the space where choice lives. Viktor Frankl, the Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, echoed this powerfully. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Being proactive means you don't wait for life to happen. You initiate, you direct, you create. It doesn't mean being impulsive. It means being intentional, grounded, mindful. It means living by design, not default. Segment 6. Action and identity. You are what you do. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, puts it bluntly. Every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. This insight is ancient. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, you have a right to perform your actions, but not to the fruits of your actions. Meaning, act for the sake of acting well. Let your identity be forged through consistent right action. If you want to become disciplined, act with discipline. If you want to become wise, act with curiosity. If you want to become courageous, act despite your fear. Your actions today are not just tasks. They are declarations. They are affirmations of who you are becoming. Segment 7. The final word, the fire within. Let me leave you with this. You do not need more time. You do not need more information. You do not need to wait until you feel ready. You need to move. As Goethe said, whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Within you, right now, is a fire. It flickers behind your doubts. It burns beneath your excuses. It is the part of you that knows you are meant to do something. Don't let it die in delay. Segment 8. The beauty of motion. Action as creative energy. The energy of the mind is the essence of life. Aristotle. We often think of action as effort, as something strenuous, draining. But what if we turned that around? What if we saw action as creative energy, the spark that turns thoughts into reality? Taking action is how potential becomes presence. Each time we write the first sentence of a journal entry, say the kind truth we've been holding back, or make the phone call that reconnects a fractured relationship, we are bringing the abstract into form. In that act, we are not just solving problems, we're creating beauty. We're engaging with the world, contributing to the invisible architecture of meaning that surrounds us. This is why action should be cherished, not for its utility alone, but for the way it sculpts the soul and leaves a legacy in the unseen world. The segment 9. The pains of movement. What action costs you. But let's not romanticize it completely. Action does have a price. Every choice to move forward comes with friction, the discomfort of change, the vulnerability of exposure, the fatigue of effort. Soren Kierkegaard wrote, "Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom." Taking action means opening yourself to uncertainty. It means risking failure, disappointment, even rejection. The comfort of indecision has its appeal. It keeps you in the warm dark, unbruised, untouched. But there's a subtler pain in motion too. The pain of leaving versions of yourself behind. You might have to abandon familiar identities, challenge deeply held beliefs, or outgrow relationships that no longer serve your growth. These aren't light losses, but what they cost you in comfort, they repay in clarity. Segment 10. The danger of delay. What inaction steals from you? Now here's the darker mirror. We often fear action, but inaction is the slowest poison. It kills not in a blaze, but in whispers. Each time we avoid the thing we know we must do, we trade a piece of self-respect for a moment's ease. Over time, this adds up. We become spectators in our own lives. Brilliant thoughts never become words. Love never becomes confession. Purpose withers into passive scrolling. Marcus Aurelius warned, "A man should be upright, not kept upright." When we refuse to act, we outsource our lives to charts. We drift into bitterness, regret, envy. We start blaming circumstances, people, fate, even time itself for the stagnation we helped build. And this is the true danger, that we become convinced we never had a choice. But you do. You always did. The segment 11. The lessons in the leap. What action teaches us? Action, especially courageous action, is the greatest teacher of all. Books are brilliant. Thoughts are sacred. But doing is clarifying. Only in action do we discover what we're truly capable of. Action tests our limits and reveals they were often imagined. It's how confidence is built, how resilience is formed, how mastery begins. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Each time we act, whether it's starting the side project, speaking up in a meeting, apologizing when we were wrong, we embody our values. We create alignment between what we believe and how we live. And even when we fail, perhaps especially then, action offers us its deepest gift, wisdom. We learn more from one misstep than 1,000 perfect intentions. Segment 12. The balance of the flame. Acting without burning out. But let's be wise. Not all action is wise action. Not all momentum is growth. We live in a culture that worships hustle and output, but overextension is not enlightenment. The Tao Te Ching reminds us, in stillness, the mud settles. In silence, clarity emerges. You are not a machine. You are a dynamic system, emotional, spiritual, embodied. Sustainable action must include stillness, reflection, integration. Taking action does not mean constant motion. It means intentional motion. Think like a gardener, not a warrior. Plant, water, prune, rest. Let seasons pass. Burnout happens when we confuse urgency with importance. So, pause, check in. Are your actions aligned with your deeper values? Or are you reacting to noise? Live in rhythm. Work from depth, not frenzy. That's how you keep the fire alive, without letting it consume you. Closing reflection. Return to the flame within. And so, the journey returns to the fire within. Action is not just effort. It is expression. Not just motion, but meaning. It is how we say, with no words at all, "I am here. I choose to live." Yes, the world is uncertain. Yes, it's easier not to try. But deep within you, there is a quiet insistence, a voice that whispers, "There's more." Listen to it. Don't just dream. Don't just wait. Act and become. Fan the flame. Take the step. Live the philosophy. If this episode of taking action and being proactive sparked something in you, consider sharing it. Leave a comment with your favorite practice. Also, please like, subscribe, and turn on notification to get notified when upload. And above all, don't just live. Take action. Until next time, stay curious, stay awake, and keep becoming.